Welcome to the Business of Business IT. I'm Bruce Guptill, and this is where we chat with tech industry leaders, influencers, and analysts to explore innovation and disruption in business IT. My guest today is seasoned industry analyst Bill Kirwin. Bill made his bones in the original Gartner Group, where he pioneered the concept and models of enterprise IT total cost of ownership. Bill, in other words, is the original TCO guy. Today, Bill is founder and managing partner of the International Institute for IT Economics. He is a contributor to the Global Analyst Syndicate, and he is a co-founder of A3E Research and Advisory Services, or ARAS. Bill, I want to jump right into the cool work that you're doing with ARAS in the audio and entertainment industries, because there are some dichotomies there between what industry insiders see disrupting things and how they see their own businesses being changed. I think you and I agree that these can translate into some traditional IT market disruptions as well.
Well, thanks, Bruce. It's great to be here today. And I'm happy to talk about what we're doing over at ARAS, A3E Research and Advisory Services. It was founded to really look at the intersection of technology platforms, general purpose technology platforms, and the specific vertical industry, the music and entertainment industries. We chose this industry because we think it's really the canary in the coal mine, where technologies have been very disruptive for many iterations of technology disruption cycles, going from records to tapes to CDs to streaming and so forth. This industry has been upended many times. The power structures, the money flow, how things are created and distributed have been very volatile in this area. So we see it as a really interesting intersection between the high technology that's happening in the world today, like artificial intelligence and the Internet of Things and 5G networking capabilities, to really blow the top off of this industry.
And if I can interrupt for just a moment, you mentioned that there's a lot of disruption. There's been quite a bit of disruption for decades, it sounds like, and I think a lot of us are familiar with that. But up until now, there hasn't been any real traditional industry technology or disruptive research that's been developed. Is that your charter?
That's correct. We noticed that there was a real gap in the marketplace relative to intelligence in this market, relative to good, hard analysis of what's happening in this area. Because when you're in an industry, you have blinders on. Audio and entertainment industry is really, focused within the constraints of that industry. Quite often, those blinders prevent you from seeing opportunities from other technology sectors that are really going to play a key role in what you're doing or what your competition is doing.
ARAS, ARAS, has developed, or actually delivered, a nationwide survey based in the U.S. and went out looking at, I think it was 11 different types or sets of technologies that you see disrupting the marketplace. You've delivered a summary report on that. That report is available, and at the end we'll show people who they can contact to receive a copy of the report. I have a couple of pages from the report, a thing that you're calling cognitive dissonance in the audio and entertainment industry. So why don't we talk about that, and I will bring up the first page that we want to discuss.
With total blinders, you're not seeing what's happening. With cognitive dissonance, you are seeing what's happening, but you refuse to see how it's going to impact you, right? And on our first slide, which is titled Industry Disruption versus My Business Disruption, is essentially what we gathered from the survey. Those three examples highlight the biggest areas where there was differential between what people were thinking is going to happen to the industry versus what they think is going to happen to their own businesses. Our mission at ARAS is to flatten those lines, right? To provide the intelligence that organizations need to make the decisions, to avoid making the wrong decisions and avoid missing opportunities that could give them competitive advantage. And we can see that there's only about half of the respondents feel that AI is going to have a direct impact on business versus the industry, where there's going to be a tremendous amount of impact. It is positioned to be the most impactful technology of these 11 going forward.
So we've talked about AI. It's seen as being much more of an industry-wide disruptor, as we see on the slide. How do you see social media as a disruptor in the audio and entertainment businesses?
As a matter of fact, we've had some recent activity in that area where Facebook has made a major commitment to delivering live streamed audio, music, and entertainment to the world, right? There are many billions of users on social media platforms, and Facebook happens to be, one of the world's largest. The fact that they are now going to become a channel for you to be able to listen to live stream music, other content that is pre-recorded, and other entertainment modalities is huge. What this does, it will disrupt the other channels that we have relied on in the past and may end up actually killing a few industries along the way as it plows through our social ability to interact.
When it comes to the cloud-based tech as a service or services, it's not just the distribution. This is also where the content is being developed and produced more than ever. Is that correct?
That's right. And as you can see on the chart, there is a fairly good understanding of what cloud-based technologies can do, both for the industry and for the business. So there's a fairly even platform there. But the interesting thing about cloud-based distribution is that it's a platform, right? And we see the platforms being a little bit better understood. It's the applications where we are seeing a real cognitive dissonance, like the applications on social media, the application on cloud-enabled services, and so forth, and the application of AI, right? Mm-hmm. And AI arguably is very generalized as far as its descriptions are concerned. But things like machine learning and neural networking and so forth are going to play key roles in developing the applications that businesses will use to reach the consumers and consumers to reach the content that they're looking for.
What ARAS is doing is not just gathering this data and presenting it in these colorful slides, but as we can see on the right-hand side of the page, helping or working to understand just how disruptive these capabilities, these technologies are or will be. Then, of course, helping industry members understand what the effects will be on their business, but also what it can or most likely will be in the industries themselves.
That's right. And we see a key role of our research as it's performed by industry analysts in other companies to really emphasize that it's important to find the right questions to ask.
Mm-hmm. The other page from the report that we wanted to spend a little bit of time on is really where some of the business cognitive dissonance seems to come to the fore. And I will cut right to the chase. If we look at the top four answers, between 54 and 65% of the surveyed businesses, the people, agree my business will need new relationships. Changing habits will affect my business. I need more knowledge. I need more industry and market insights. We're going to be doing business in completely new markets. But immediately below that is the dissonant statement. I'm positioned to compete through 2022.
Exactly. And it makes your head explode. Because they're in the same survey, they're saying, I need to do this. We're gonna get crushed if this doesn't happen. And in the same survey, they're saying, but that's okay. I don't think we really need to make many changes over the next couple of years. And that is going to come back and haunt a lot of organizations.
What are some of the reasons why this dissonance is occurring? And what is it that a company like ARAS can do to combat it? Off the top of my head, it would seem that they can see what's going on in the industry better than they can see how that affects their particular business, or they might be more oriented toward looking at the positive side. We're going to have new markets. We're going to have new opportunities. There's a lot of change going on. So maybe they believe that they can adapt quickly enough.
We think it's the lag factor, right? That two things. One is that a lot of these technologies are not in the forefront of the strategic planning of the businesses that are in the industry, right? These are general purpose technologies and just may not be within the visual field, if you will, of organizations that are very focused on specific technologies that are going to impact their ability to deliver content, to deliver high quality audio, to be able to do editing and soundboarding and so forth. So there's a lot of very specific technologies in the audio and entertainment industries, and those have been the focal point. If you go to a trade show, you will see 1,000 booths of people that are very specialized in digital audio workboards, the microphones, the recording technology, a lot of software and so forth, but it's all very specific to the industry. And I think that those are the focus of the people that are in the business, in the industry, but they're not seeing a bigger picture that's happening to the world around them with these very broad-based technologies that are going to impact everybody.
And therefore, to go back to the model that you introduced at the beginning of the conversation, this is what you need to prepare for. Because if you don't, it's not going to be pleasant. It's going to be a lot more costly than it would be otherwise.
And what we discovered is that these technologies are already here, right? The camel's nose is under the tent, as we say. And with a very brief period of time, the camel is going to be inside the tent. We see that we're at a very critical period right now where businesses are not reacting to this period in the technology life cycle where all of a sudden there is going to be critical to their survival and to their competitive positioning going forward.
All right. Well, we've boiled down a lot of information and insight into about 12 to 15 minutes. And obviously, there's a lot more that people can see and for us to discuss in future episodes. In post-production, we will put the contact information for the A3E Research and Advisory Services website here on the screen. And so people can also take a look at www.thansyn.com, and that URL will be up here as well, to get a little bit more of the insights. Bill, thank you very much for making the time for us today. It's been a long time coming, but we finally managed to get things together here, and I'm looking forward to our next conversation.
Thanks, Bruce. It's been a pleasure.